I don't think any shop would be complete without these two tools. Torch, I use that for muffler mods and things, and well, on the farm, as you can probably imagine, a whole bunch of things. And a press. It's ugly, isn't it? It used to look like that. Came to me pretzeled. Came to me pretzel was actually about like this. So I really don't know how straight it is. I just kept working with it. I had to heat it up because this metal in this total bar is really, really hard. You know, I've straightened countless Stihl brand bars and Oregon brand bars, but I could not get this stuff to bend. You know, because as soon as it bent, it strain hardened right there at the bend. So when you did things like with the other brand bars, it would stay bowed in the middle and then bend at the edge of the strain hardening. So I finally just got sick of that and then worked at a little bit of a time, undoing the mess I made first, and then using a torch to tactically cherry red the places I wanted to bend. Yeah, I spent 15-20 minutes on it, you know. I'll look at the video to see how close I got. Guy is coming for a saw. He didn't ask for this, but I figured maybe I'll surprise him with a bar that's usable, not pretty, but probably usable for what he's doing. So, yeah, this was crushed too. This was a smashed saw. That's an aftermarket handle. And over the years, I've dealt with a bunch of different brand bars. And I ran into a situation. It's going to shake a little bit because I'm doing this with my cell phone this week that kind of got my attention. I sort of had to sort of step back and do a reevaluation. Now, I like these. And of course, this is so much like an Oregon. Sometimes I wonder if it is in fact made by Oregon. Bang per buck. Got a lot of time on these. Used to be my favorites. I mean, as a product, they're beautiful products. No doubt about it, but they got pricey. A little bit heavy for me. And then these guys right here. That one. The nice finish. And the only reason I ran into this particular brand is because my preference on those color saws. And once upon a time, they were carried by a distributor here in New York State called Tilton. So the bars that came on the John threads were repainted bars from Total. I'm not sure if that was a connection from Sweden or a New York thing or whatever, but I became aware of this brand because of the people associated with John thread. And, you know, so I started picking up a few of these and using them. And, you know, they're in the same price range as a good Oregon or Husqvarna or even Stihl. More expensive than these. Less expensive than these. Honestly, I don't have enough wear on any one of these Total bars to make an assessment if they wear better. An event happened this week, and I didn't think to turn the camera on when I got that bar in, but needless to say, it was bent about maybe 30 degrees right about there at a slight angle. Now in the past, I get a fair number of these bars, and I can put them into press and get them pretty close. You know, the metal is hard enough to wear, but soft enough to where it doesn't strain harden after a bend like that I can't straighten it out. Same with these. But when I tried using the same technique on the total, it didn't work at all. All that happened was it had strain hardened on the first bend, and I couldn't get that bend out of it to save my life. So I had to resort towards other techniques, and I used a torch, I confess. Because basically what I had done was I created a shape that started like this, but then it bent, left a little hook in there and bent again, and I just couldn't make it relax. And once it's like one of those deals that just gets worse. Once I had bent it in these two places, they were strain hardened. So now I had this nasty S in there, and I gave up pretty quick on that strategy and resorted to the torch. And what I did was I took each of the bends I put in out by putting it in my vise, getting a thin cherry red line at the point where I made those bends, and then just pushing on it until it relaxed. Did the same over here, and then went back and took the first bend out and got it pretty straight. I'll show a picture. But, you know, heating it up like that and then dunking it in the water, no way it's going to have the same hardness as it did as it came from the factory. So I'm going to find out over time whether that bar is useful. I can tell you, if you were just to look at it by eye, and I'll fold in some pics, it's pretty straight. The chain runs good. It'll never be as good as stock, of course, because it won't be quite as flat. But it's good enough, I don't think it's going to hang up in the wood like a bar with a burr on it. But so why am I saying this? Because I've had no trouble doing the bend and rebend technique with some of these softer metals. It says something about total, because the metal was hard enough and good enough that it was very strong, and when it strain hardened, it was too strong to bend back. So obviously there's a difference in material than these other brands. My hunch is the Sujis have a similar type material, although I've never had to bend one of these back. Of course, how would you? You'd melt all these darn Mylar inserts. But so what I gained out of that experience is the impression, and I'm not sure it's true yet, it's just my impression, that's better metal, guys. And the way it reacted to me trying to bend it, I mean, it was strong. I could not bend it by hand. You know, I had to use the press. And then I had to fix it, like I said, with a torch. That stuff is hard. Better material. Bet it wears better over time. That's my speculation. I don't know what else to say. I think I get some time on them, we'll see. But I was both annoyed and impressed all at the same time. Another little detail which is worth saying something about is this. You Husqvarna guys using Husqvarna chain, that label right there tells you a lot. The H48. This is what came out of that box. Take a look at that link. This is another box. Notice the LGX, my preferred chain. What do you think? Husqvarna? Oregon? H48, that's the 58 thousandths. LGX, damn, if I can tell a difference. Box is different. There's a slight difference in color. I like that stuff. Either one of them, pretty much the same chain, isn't it? But Husqvarna brand, if you got a dealer, get that H48 stuff if you have a 58 gauge bar. Good stuff. Now, of course, when you're selecting chain, again, I like the LGX series Oregon. That's my favorite chain, by the way. And nothing has dissuaded me from that. This one here is for a bar of that particular thickness. That's .050 3/8 chain, 50 thousandths. And that's the width of the groove in the bar. Most bars will have their specification right on them. And this is redundant for the people who know what they're doing. And most Stihls run that 50 thousandths chain. Boy, I wish it would focus. Husqvarnas, on the other hand, typically run like this bar here, 58 thousandths. Here's a Husqvarna bar. And see, that's the thickness of the groove in the bar. So this particular bar has takes 3/8 chain, requires 68 lengths, drive lengths, and is the .58 gauge, or the .058 inches, 1.5 millimeter slot there. I know for the experts that's a waste of time going through that, but I'm assuming not everybody who watches this video is going to be an expert. Now, back to those numbers again. H46, same brand, 3/8. This one here is for 50 thousandths, so it would be, you know, for a 50 thousandths bar. Yeah, you can buy Husqvarnas with a 50 thousandths. This is a slightly different type of chain. In Oregon, this would be an LPX instead of an LGX. And it's got that little ramp right there. You can see it better there. You see that ramp? The LGX doesn't have that right there. It's just straight to that raker. You know, I'm not a chain expert, but from what I understand, the LPX was actually built prior to the LG, and the LG was an improvement on the LP. And the LGX, in my humble opinion, is the best chain I can buy, short of the Stihls, the RS. But and on the Husqvarna boxes, you got to look and find out which is which. But my recommendation, from my personal experience in the hardwood, is always go for that type of link, and that would be an Oregon LGX. Even though these are okay, I still prefer these. While I'm talking about my favorite things to use, these yellow wedges, you can get them out of the Forester catalog. They're sold by Allborns. I don't know, I can't even read it. Maybe you can. I love these darn things. I think these are the best wedges one can buy. My humble opinion.